thought I was having a normal commute this morning. So.
Stacy Rader's day ended.
Yeah.
And right now, this guy is running hot, southbound I-25.
Before it ever got started.
Actually listening on the radio about this car chase that was happening and thinking I'm glad I'm not on I-25.
Headed from Parker to work in Denver, she was westbound on Lincoln.
And this guy is going like a rocket ship.
When she was blindsided by irony.
And he just T-bones me.
He has just caused an accident at Lincoln and Peoria. Tried to shoot through a red light.
Oh my God, I was crying. I didn't know if I was gonna die or if I was hurt. I didn't know.
She crashed into 2 other cars before spinning out.
The extent of my injuries are like 2 little scrapes on my finger, which is pretty amazing.
Did you see the video of her?
I did see the video, yes.
Her husband, John.
That's crazy. It's unbelievable.
So you see there's me going through the intersection and then there's me getting hit.
And this is the suspect being caught shortly after the crash with Rader.
I'm really shaky.
So despite a wrecked car, a ruined day, and a concerned husband.
I was terrified, actually.
Maybe Rader was in the right place at the right time.
Or maybe I should say I did my civic duty and I stopped him because it sounds like he was doing horrible things.
She did, yep. Crime fighter.
Probably not, but yeah, dumb luck, I would say, yeah.
It definitely was not.
And she's safe. That's all that matters.
Her typical commute. In Lone Tree, Nelson Garcia, 9 News.
Just take your time and try not to twist.
It's difficult to find clarity in the aftermath of such a senseless shooting.
Claire, her spirit is embodied here, and I think that as a result of the tragedy, good will continue to come from this.
But somehow,
Grab a shovel and a rake.
Claire Davis's community is doing just that at Clarity Commons.
It's not just a building, it's not just a park. It's an opportunity to help the community turn a page from something so horrific.
Dave Kenny and G.E. Johnson Construction took on this project for free to build a place where students at Arapahoe High will remember Claire Davis for years to come.
I want them to feel like this is their home and this is their place, this is their sanctuary, and that they've got a place to work out whatever differences they may have or just relax and enjoy their space.
And so today, some finishing touches are going in thanks to the group of volunteers who showed up to make this place special. Bushes are being planted, benches being placed, the perfect space for students to come together.
But more than anything, this park is really about being connected. And when we're all connected, great things happen.
Great things in honor of Claire.
Cool, man. Thanks, Joey. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Bringing clarity to life after death.
It just doesn't compare to anything else.
In Centennial with photojournalist Byron Reed, Ryan Harrow, 9 News.
So many of us put our lives into our work, but what if your work reflected your life?
To be special, the woman who has become a cultural icon in our city and around the world, in fact, has found a way to combine her most popular and personal works. 9 News reporter Taronda Thomas and photojournalist Byron Reed tell us more.
It's perhaps fitting that in a former church,
we feel that spirit.
The spirit still moves.
It's a hallelujah moment,
And she moves too. A lot.
Sometimes my husband would say, why did you kick your leg up like that? And I was like, honey, because I just feel like it, and I'm glad I can. And he'd say, that's really not necessary.
Dance is Cleo Parker Robinson's life.
And I loved theater.
And parts of her 65 years of life have come together on stage.
Every part of the works that I've done, I can identify a time in my life.
Even the most painful times.
My brother died in his sleep of a heart attack at 19.
Sorrow that inspired.
I was only 21. And I had to create. The pain was so great. Mary, don't you weep. So there are 3 Marys, and they all try to hold each other together. You know, that's what women do.
A personal piece.
This is an excerpt from To My Father's House.
One of many in the upcoming show simply called Cleo on Cleo.
So we brought back some of my older works and new works.
Works that have taken Cleo Parker Robinson
Can do beautifully, darling.
and her dance ensemble
It's one of the first pieces I ever created.
around the world.
From Kenya to Nigeria to Germany, all over Italy, Bulgaria, Istanbul, everywhere.
Quite the journey for the girl who was told she'd never dance.
I had a heart attack at the age of around 10 or 11, and then I was hospitalized, and they said I would never move.
But in fact, she's always moving and sharing her life's journey filled with dreams.
That was my greatest joy.
And dance. With photojournalist Byron Reed, Toronto Thomas, 9 News.
Love Cleo Parker. Cleo on Cleo is set for 2 performances this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at the Cleo Parker Robinson Dance Theater. The show will move to the Lakewood Cultural Center next weekend. For ticket information, go to our website, 9news.com.
Good buddy. I'm a good buddy. Spending time with the horse grooming. It's a great way to connect with the horse when the ladies first arrive. It's incredible. It's indescribable.
Horses are very intuitive. They read off of what's going on around them, and they're very present. They're very here and now.
Let's go this way.
Well, they can tell when you're afraid. They can tell all kinds of emotion for you, and they'll reflect that back to you.
So most of the time we walk through the world just using our minds. But today we're going to practice using our hearts.
Yes, I was diagnosed in 2010.
So the horses can feel what you're doing through your intention.
I eventually got into despair and grief and depression. Where are you going? Want to go for a walk? Time, like the anxiety, it's like you're on a roller coaster. You find something and then they want to biopsy it, and then they say, oh, it's okay, and then you get another one.
After being with doctors and people poking and prodding, and so they get to come here and re-establish trust. Just this perfect place at this perfect moment. Yeah, the horses tend to elicit a lot of emotion, mainly because they allow you to be whoever you are, without any judgment.
I'll never forget you. Never, ever. Never. Thank you.
I want them to feel empowered, stronger, and to have the acceptance to take care of themselves and know that that's okay, because that's so hard for women in our society.
The cover of the first book that featured an African American clearly shown.
He may not look like a comic book hero.
And I love superheroes and the battle for truth and justice and equality and fairness. And I think that's what drew me.
But Professor William Foster is a hero for comic books.
All comic characters are stereotypes. It's where we start.
He's a nationally known comic book historian from Connecticut.
Welcome this morning.
Here to talk to people in Denver.
Stop reading them funny books is what they said.
About the changing image of African Americans in comics.
You can trace almost by decade how our progress in this country and how treatment in this country had changed over time.
Foster believes these are not just funny books. Comics, he believes,
no one knows,
are insights into the psychology of the times.
Where black people were being portrayed as, superstitious people with real big lips and fright wig hair and holding a shield and a spear. And
from the caricatures of the 30s and 40s.
I never get mad at history. It was what it was.
To the empowerment of the 60s and 70s.
This is John Stewart, the Black Green Lantern.
Foster says comic books play a big part in history because of their role in shaping the minds of young readers over time.
Because that's what we are. That's how we learn. We learn by stories.
What makes him a comic book hero?
Black Lightning is 1977.
Are his efforts to preserve history. He's contributing to an exhibit at the Blair Caldwell Library in Denver and towards efforts around the country.
This is Willie Mays.
Trying to help the next generation remember how things used to be.
If they found you reading, they would kill you.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Much of the pioneering comic books portraying black characters are disappearing. Many of them destroyed or never distributed.
Stacks of those books came back to the publisher. No one will put them on the shelves.
Now Foster has launched a movement to save these underground comics from extinction.
But the V of people behind me has gotten much larger. So I'm not the only one anymore.
Not the only one trying to be a hero.
Nah, not just funny books, although you still can find some funny books.
A hero for the truth.
Whatever story someone tells becomes the truth. Or there were no black comics. That becomes the truth. Okay? Well, you know, nobody in the black community was doing it. Why should we do it? That's not the truth.
With photojournalist Byron Reed. Nelson Garcia, 9 News.